Where are you at right now? How much money do you have in the bank that you're bringing in from your business? What do you want that to grow to? We want to measure that gap, but we want to measure what tools do you have in place to help you succeed through that gap. It's a path. So those are assessing what you've got now and then looking at what can you bring in to enhance what you're already doing. So if you're doing all these things and working really hard, are you living in joy while you're doing them?
Right.
Do you feel like you're swimming upstream, or do you feel like you can let go of the paddle and just go downstream? You're putting in the time. So you want to start with the end goal in mind and work backwards. So everything you do day by day takes you to that end goal. But if you help fill in the gap for me, as one who wants to coach you, what is your end vision? Where do you want to be?
How's it going, powerful people? My name is Edouard Gilles, personal development speaker and talk show host, and I want to welcome you to this holistic experience called the Unlimited Power Show. We're now coming into the 5th season of this show, and I invite you to watch this next season of entrepreneurs who are helping and aiding people in becoming a better version of themselves, either through media, through their company, or as coaches. And in this next episode, I'm featuring Jo Ellen Newman, a transformational coach who uses a lot of different tools to help you break through and achieve your business goals. So go ahead and tune into this first episode of the 5th season, and I'll see you on the other side. How's it going, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to this episode here on the Unlimited Power Show. My name is Edouard Gilles, and today I have the pleasure of introducing to you Jo Ellen Newman. How you doing today?
Thank you. Hi, Ed. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
You're looking good today.
Thank you.
All
You as
lettered
well.
up. And you see, we
Nice
had
and
like,
cool.
we're all blacked out, but
Yeah.
our spirits are bright.
Bright.
First, why don't you give us a quick introduction of yourself, Jo Ellen, and tell us
Thanks.
about from where you came from, the path to where you are now, and where you're headed.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, first of all. Thank you very much. I love doing this.
Yes.
And my company is now Transforming Your Tomorrows. But you're right. I did not start there. Years ago, I started out as an LPN and then to an RN. So I started out in nursing and did that for many years. I was a nurse in cardiology and doing surgical floor, and actually my first job was in psych, working with kids. I was a nurse on a cruise ship and did that for a while and traveled the seas. So I had a really expansive career as a nurse, and I was one of those nurses who never got burnt out. I loved every minute of it. It was hard work. I mean, truly.
I bet.
Oh, it's hard work. But it was great. I mean, I'm a giver, so it was just totally fun for me. And then from there, I moved into business development. I got a recommendation from one of the physicians, you need to go over and meet with this CEO. And I did. I got the job, and I started building business for the hospital. Because of my relationship with the physicians, they all knew me well, they trusted me, they trusted my nursing skills, so I was able to redirect business from one hospital to the next, I guess. And I kind of evolved from there, business development over various hospitals, and then reached a higher level in healthcare and became a healthcare administrator. And toward the end of my career, I was managing ERs across the nation. So I had about 4 or 5 different states that I covered, and I hired physicians, I hired nurse practitioners and PAs, and but once I left the corporate world, I really, I was always this type of cheerleader,
Yes.
always bringing forth the energy that, okay, we've got this on our plate, but how do we want to deliver it? How do we want to do our work? What kind of joy do we want to live in? And even as an executive, I would do that. I had a staff leave me a note before she went on to another job. She goes, I couldn't be great without having a great coach. And I was the vice president. So it was really I did it in my corporate field. And once I left that, I really felt like, why don't I get certified with this? So I became a certified instructor with infinite possibilities.
Yes.
By Mike Dooley. He's an international speaker, author, renowned inspirational person, and written, I think, 10 or 11 books at this point. And if anyone doesn't know the name, he's often associated with the Daily Notes from the Universe, which is so profound. And he writes notes to you as if it's coming to you from God, all that is, but he calls it the universe.
Right.
So that really resonated with me, because years and years ago I was quite sick, and I was told I would die I could die within the next few weeks. I was really sick. And I thought I had to go home on a Friday night. I didn't tell my husband. My son was much younger at the time, and I thought, do I believe everything I believe? I had to get really real with that. And I said, yes, I do. I was, the hardest part was my son was still in middle school at that time, but that was the hardest part for me. But if I was going to go through this journey of trying to get well, am I really clear on what I personally believe? So it was an awakening for me, and that's when I started following Mike Dooley and those notes that were very inspirational and motivational. And from there, I chose to practice some holistic medicine. And based on, I did go through the PET CT scans, and my tumor shrunk, and they said, what are you doing? How are you doing? And I said, well, I'm doing some holistic medicine. And listen, I believe in allopathic medicine. I'm a nurse.
Yes.
But I also will incorporate holistic medicine. So let me just say that out there. But for me, that worked for me. It was something that helped me at that time. And here I am today and practicing my infinite possibilities training, but I've also gotten trained as a quantum success coach as well, and coaching as a certified oracleist, meaning I read oracle cards, things like that. So I've come a long way from nursing to business development to a corporate career and to life and business coaching now.
So let's say I'm an entrepreneur, which I am, right? And I'm going about my daily life trying to figure out, how do I get satisfaction out of my business, my passion, and how do I actually grow and actually get to the next level? How would you help me, and what are some strategies and tools that you utilize to help me grow personally and with my business?
Well, I think when it starts with me, I've always got to start left brain. So let's start on, where are you now? Do you have an assessment of where your business is at now? And these are the very same tools and questions I'll ask an entrepreneur. Where are you at right now? How much money do you have in the bank that you're bringing in from your business? What do you want that to grow to? So where do you want to grow to? So we want to measure that gap, but we want to measure what tools do you have in place to help you succeed through that gap. It's a path. So those are assessing what you've got now, and then looking at what can you bring in to enhance what you're already doing. So if you're doing all these things and working really hard, are you living in joy while you're doing them?
Right.
Do you feel like you're swimming upstream, or do you feel like you can let go of the paddle and just go downstream? You're putting in the time. So like, for example, there might be people who want to become a doctor or a nurse, all right? Okay, this is in front of me. So every day you're going to get up, you're going to go to nursing school, you're going to go to medical school, and at the end of the day, you have a vision in mind that you want to be a physician, right? So you want to start with the end goal in mind and work backwards. So everything you do day by day takes you to that end goal. But if you help fill in the gap for me, as one who wants to coach you, what is your end vision? Where do you want to be? And what I like to do is, all right, do you want to work on 5 years from now, 10 years from now, or 15 years from now? I like to start at 5 years from now because that seems more doable for people. But if you've got a big vision stretch goal 15 years from now, that's not out of the question. Certainly companies will want to look at that, larger companies. But as an entrepreneur, what do you want to achieve, all right, in 1 year? What's your next financial goal? Let's get you there. So what I will also do is not only the assessment and looking at your strategy and getting there. What are your weaknesses? What are your obstacles that you feel are inhibiting you from that success? And that might be mindset. That might be your strategy too. You might not have a really clear path saying, okay, I want to do this, or you might be just spending time in social media. A lot of entrepreneurs will be on social media because it's how we market ourselves, right? But that can be a rabbit hole. So are you chunking your time down? And it's really important to say, I want to spend this much time on Twitter, this much time on IG, this much time on Facebook, right? But you want to be very comprehensive and cohesive with your actions, so that saying, you're on the line, like you're walking into a test for an exam in college. You've got 1 hour to finish it. You've got 1 hour in Facebook. And then boom, you're done. So if you had only 2 hours a day in your entrepreneur business, you want to make it concise and really rich with what you're doing, right? So you want to ask yourself the question, what's your focus of the day? And what am I doing to take my business forward during this time? And if you think those thoughts, you can do it in 2 hours and say, I want to do this, this, and this. And those are your highest priority steps for that day that will take you forward. And then what I like to do, because I'm a whole brain coach, meaning I very much incorporate the left brain, the logical and analytical, but I do bring in the right brain, which means all of the creative tools, such as feng shui, the art of space, such as crystals, using earth energy, the geodes that she's created from earth, or working with ascended masters, or I like to bring in oracle cards and use those as a tool. And so what I tell clients, especially my left brains, because I've taught doctors, I've taught accountants in an infinite possibilities program, I said, you don't have to believe this. It's okay. But what I want you to do is open your mind, say, let me step into this new playground. I have no idea where I'm going, but I'll play, that's all. Just have an open mind. And if I can have clients who have open minds say, all right, it's like learning a new song, or playing a new instrument, or learning a new language. I'm just working with energy or things that tap into energy. Oracle cards are generally a divinity tool that people have used for millennia. So whether they're oracle cards or tarot cards, they're simply a tool, and they're nothing negative. At least I never work in negativity. It is, like you said, unlimited potential. We have the ability to create everything that we want, but do we believe that we're that magnificent to create it? I find oracle cards are very soothing, because it is the universe saying to us, you are dynamic, you are special, and you have an opportunity to really bring forward anything that serves you for the highest good and for the highest good of others.
With oracle cards, do you think that they give answers, or they do affirm answers you already know?
I think both. I think that oracle cards in many ways are our higher consciousness coming through to talk to us and say, look at this. Many times, we tend to deny our intuition, or like, okay, my gut feels like this. Those, we don't always want to rely on our gut, because we can be wrong, right? We want to rely on science and facts and what's logical. But we also want to tap into our intuition that is special, and the ability. So when oracle cards talk to us, it is an opportunity to say, what am I missing? Kind of like called my shadow side. What am I not seeing in this? Right? What am I not seeing in my obstacle that is preventing me from my success? So they might just guide you. I personally don't read as, I'm not a psychic. I don't read as if, here, come to me and you get an oracle card reading and then go do this. I really use them as tools to allow your higher self to expand, for you to do the self-discovery. I simply use them as a tool to say, it looks like this is saying this. Does that resonate with you? It's a story, and it's a collaborative story. It's not about me being the you know, the genie behind, you know, in the lamp coming out to give you a reading.
Right.
It's me truly being a coach saying, let's bring more of you out. And this is using a tool, say, well, let's talk about this. You know, what do you think about that? So it becomes a journey of self-discovery, simply using a different tool.
Okay.
That's all.
So when you talked about using intuition or using the analytical, and there are two brains. They actually found out that our gut, I'm not going to get into the science of it, is actually a second brain. And it's starting to be proven within Western medicine. When I would say there's a third part, which is not necessarily a brain, but a place where we operate, which is our heart. So we have the analytics here, we have emotions here, and we have our gut of intuition. So let's say these are three ways of making decisions. As entrepreneurs, how do we utilize these three parts of ourselves to actually propel ourselves towards a different path? For instance, sometimes in our head we can hear what's the next move, like, oh, you should do it, but then our analytics says, maybe I can't do it, you know, maybe this is not logical. Sometimes logic doesn't work well with intuition.
That's a fascinating and great question. I will tell you, because I work a little bit differently. So with the left brain, the left hemisphere, logical, analytical, the right brain, very creative and, you know, dynamic. So, but there's another portion in our brain called the amygdala, okay?
Right.
It's in the back portion, and that's our fight or flight brain, if you will. We tend to just respond based on how we've been raised from a fight or flight perspective.
Right.
So our logical brain is saying, well, it's logical that I should take these steps.
Right.
But the amygdala brain is saying, oh no, you can't do that. It's not safe. You've never done that before. And it wants to keep you safe with what's really comfortable and what's, you know, I've done this before. It feels like a comfortable shoe. It's not a brand new shoe. And it keeps us from stepping beyond. But the magic, the intuition, is really going into what you've not done before and the discovery. And that's expanding your abilities. You know, the magic of life is really the thought, okay, your true brain saying, I think that I can do this. By allowing yourself that capacity to say, I think I can do it, gives yourself the allowance to say, maybe. And then the gut is, well, do I feel like I can take the action? It's really the action behind the thought, and the heart provides the feelings. So for me, the thought always comes first. Getting out of our mind chatter and doing our thoughts, are they logical? Are they based on, is this doable? Is it, those are your SMART goals, right? Is it specific, measurable, attainable, you know, replicable, and teachable? So that starts there. I'm not going to go out and find a pink elephant, right? I'm not going to live in that world. But I can go out and say, well, maybe I can ride an elephant today. If I go to a zoo, if they allow that. Or, you know, you want to make things realistic, and then say, well, what's my passion behind that? Do I really want to do that? Then that's the engine behind, or I guess maybe the fuel behind the engine. The engine is the thought, and the fuel is the gas that you put into the engine. You know, so you're making sure that I really want to do this. I want to feel this excitement, this joy. I want to reach that end goal of my revenue by the end of this year. I want to make sure I step out of my comfort zone, the magical places that allows me to say, I've never done this before. I'm scared as hell, but I'm going to try it. And then like, wow, I did it. I'm an entrepreneur now. I'm making money now. I'm coaching people. And nobody should learn at my age that you're perfect. You're absolutely magnificent at what you're doing every single day. You've got a voice that people want to hear. There's only one of you. There's only one of me. That is so unique. And our voices are unique. It's our specific vibration. People are waiting to hear your message.
Yes.
You know, people are waiting to hear your message on TV. People are waiting to hear your audience. You know, your audience are waiting to hear who you bring on to your programs. That is only meant for you, right? Through your voice. My coaching, whether it's in a business or whether it's in for those who need life coaching, I personally believe there is no competition.
Right.
There isn't.
Right.
Because everybody resonates with the right person.
Exactly.
Right? So how can there be competition? It's all maybe co-optition. Maybe there's another coach sitting next to me. It doesn't mean we may work collaborative together on coaching one person. She's still got her, or he or she still has their coaching business. I have mine, but that's co-optition. We're cooperating and we're still in our own separate businesses. But I love a collaborative role in life. So
that's beautiful. What are like some tips that you're going to give to an entrepreneur within the next new year who's saying, listen, I'm going to make some new resolutions for my life, you know. I'm going to take my business to an entire new level because I believe that I've been living underneath my potential. What would be your top tips for that person?
Couple of things. One, to really up-level who you are. Who do you need to become to be that successful entrepreneur a year and a half from now?
Yes.
So you have to act as if you're already there. So what success habits do you need to add or eliminate? You know, what other things do you need to eliminate? But what are the success habits that you need to add into your life? So I highly recommend people get up and start with a gratitude thought, 2 minutes or less. You know, what are you grateful for today? And then what's your focus for today, right? What is your purpose for today? How do you want to feel? What do you want? Why do you want it? And how do you want to feel throughout the day, right?
Yes.
So then your success habits start with meditation for even 5 minutes. Because once you can empty out your mind of all of the mind chatter, you get really clear on where you want to go and what you need to do and why you're doing it. So if you can do that, I mean, certainly I meditate longer than that.
Right.
But if you can, for those who are not meditators out there.
What if I hate meditating?
Yes, I've got someone who does that, hates meditating.
What do they do?
Well, I said, you know, let's just get quiet and breathe for 68 seconds. If you can do it for 68 seconds. And then if you can, from there, exercise just for 5 minutes. Because most people, especially entrepreneurs, can have a frenetic business, a frenetic lifestyle. It's like, I got to go here, I got to do this. Then just chunk it down into 5-minute increments. Like 5 minutes, put a kitchen timer on your desk. For 5 minutes, I'm just going to breathe. And it takes away some of the mind chatter that we tend to live with so much today. And then you're getting clear on what you need to do. You feel better. From there, go exercise, go take a walk, go work out, whatever. That's a science that your body is your tool in moving you forward, right? And then as you start your day, what are the top priority things that you need to accomplish? But in terms of other tips, it's making sure, are you really clear on what your end goal is for the end of the year? Another tip is making sure that you've collaborated or you are around people that are like seeing eyes to you. Do they believe in what you're doing? Do you have, or are they always negative? Start measuring who's in your life. And that may mean your spouses, your parents, your friends. If they're not pulling you forward, how are they serving you? Or are they holding you back?
Everyone's pulling you in some sort of direction.
They are, but it's only you who can control. Is that serving you and your highest good? Or are you making them comfortable by being there listening to them vent or things like that? What role are you serving? So if you're serving yourself and your highest good, that's great. And you want to serve maybe a larger picture, you know, for all of humanity, you know, but are you doing it collaboratively? If someone is holding you back and saying, oh no, you can't do that, Ed. you can't go forward, Jo Ellen. You can't, you're not going to make, $500,000 this year. Well, really? That's their belief. It's not yours. So I think it's really key to take a look at who are the top 5 people in your life, because they are a reflection of you. And if they're really dirt poor and you want to get to 500,000, it's a big gap, right?
Right.
So how are they serving you and helping you reach your goal? I think that's really important to measure. Do they have the same integrity? Do they have the same values? It's looking at things like that with those people. Some of the other things are, what are you doing that allows you to serve your soul? And that's the energy. Are you taking time out for self-reflection? Are you taking time out for a massage, a facial, just a pure heavy-duty workout? Something like that really feeds your soul and makes you feel good. Because I always tell my clients, I have so many people I have to serve. And I said, well, first you have to serve yourself. It's like you're on the analogy on the airplane. You have to give yourself the oxygen first before you give it to a little child. Because if you lose consciousness, then certainly that child is not going to get oxygen. So it's really important to be really clear on what your needs are first and foremost. And from what perspective are you living from? Are they from your values, or are they someone else's? And are those values serving you, toward your goals?
So there's something you said, energy. We always talk about energy, but we never quantify or like specify exactly what it is. So what is energy to you? What is the definition of that? And what does it mean?
I think what energy means is the expression of everything we do. This table has energy. It's just that those molecules are formed so much tighter together, but it still has energy. It's reflected in something that is manifested in hard form. But oxygen has energy, 2 oxygen molecules, right? It's things that we may not always know how to measure, right? But we can't see oxygen, but we know it's there, we're breathing. We can't taste oxygen, we can't feel it, we can't hear it. And yet, we know we live on Earth with this filled up with oxygen, right? So I think energy is really understanding that we can move our body and our mind in a certain way consciously, but we can do it with something larger than ourselves. That we coexist with oxygen that we can't see, feel, hear, or taste, but we can also coexist with perhaps energy that is God, Goddess, Source, Universe. People can call it Fred or Allah. It doesn't matter. It's believing in something higher and more tangible than just me, that I can co-create a thought and an outcome that can leverage something bigger than me. I can tap into that energy that I may not be able to prove yet, see, feel, hear, or taste, and yet I can know, and I have experienced, the ability to express myself based on things I've heard, things I just know, the intuition, things I read through my oracle cards. I'm a channel, and I can read, this is the message I need to deliver from this oracle card. That to me is above and beyond who I am personally. It's something more beyond myself.
So when you were talking about oxygen we breathe, we believe in it, that it exists even though we can't necessarily see it. And that's a concept of faith. And in the same way, the same oxygen is within all the things around our world, and which you quantify as source energy, which I specify as God. Do you believe that sometimes is reason and logic more important than what you feel inside, like in life? Like, do you believe that being able to quantify or say this is this, or being able to feel it, which one is more important? And that can be just a very short.
Wow, I think it's really important for both. I think we live in a logical world.
Right.
We live in what makes sense. But I think I have two questions. They're phrases. What if and what's next?
Right.
What if it's true? Can you imagine hundreds of years ago, doctors actually did not use soap or cleansing materials because they thought, oh, that's ridiculous, it's useless. And so people died. But as time went on, it was proven by using soap, by being clean, that we could prevent bacteria from being contaminated into someone else. So what if this works? What if this is right?
Right.
So I think if we ask ourselves and allow ourselves to say, what if that person is right? Let me just take this adventurous road and see what I can find out. And then when you get there, okay, what's next? Some people are not always going to succeed on our path. But what really creates success for that person is saying, okay, that didn't succeed. What's next? What can I do next? So I think by combining both our logic and our feelings are really, really important to take us to our next level in life.
And
that's up-leveling.
Up-leveling.
Yep.
And you know, there's this concept of free thinking, and it's living based on logic, reason, and your own conclusions. However, free thinking means that it shouldn't be impacted by anything. And I found that this very mind-boggling. How you could any man can be could have free thought if we learn from other people. If there's things we read, how do we know which thoughts and beliefs are actually our own, or just things impacted and influenced by the thoughts of other people? And how do we differentiate? How do we know we're not going towards the wrong path? Is my question.
Well, it's interesting. To me, there's two questions in there. How do you know you're going toward the wrong path is really asking yourself, how do I feel? How do I feel about doing this? How do I feel about saying these words?
Yeah.
How does it feel being a bully and putting someone down? Does that
Right.
make you feel empowered? Then the bully, they might feel empowered, but really they're working out of pain, right? They're working out of their own self-pain that they haven't yet brought to light. They're trying to deflect it onto someone else. But if you're choosing to do something, how do I feel about this? Does this feel right for me? That's important to recognize and to acknowledge. Like, no, I don't feel good about this.
Right.
Then that allows you to say, you know what, thank you for this offer, but I'm going to decline right now. But when you move forward and say, is this a free thought, or is this a thought that someone has injected into me, right? Most of the time I think we do not think a brand new thought. They're thoughts based on the iceberg, the ice underneath the water, right? That all of those beliefs that we have were really generated by the environment that we grew up in, the religious beliefs that we were taught as children. I mean, look at the world. We have people who believe in Buddha or Allah, who are Muslim, people who are Christian, people who are Jewish. What separates us? We're simply born into a Jewish family, or we're born into a Muslim family, and we generally follow the religion that we're born into. That's to be honored if that feels right for you. But it doesn't mean that we have to separate ourselves from another person, another human, based on the religion that they feel. So they have their thoughts on that, and you can have your thoughts on your religion. But you can still share this space of earth and say, well, tell me about yours. Let me listen.
Right.
If we open our minds and you know, thinking free thought, and you know, today we have a very polarized society with certainly our politics and government. But if we begin to, and we live in a world of chaos, I think our society is very much addicted to chaos. So we tend to perpetuate. It's like, oh this and oh that, right?
Right.
But we can do that with religion, and and those are simply our thoughts that we've chosen to believe. And thoughts are things that we repeat over and over, and they become a habit. Habits become a belief because we repeat them. So if we allow ourselves to simply create space, open space, and that's the empty mind. That's in meditation, or that's in being grateful for what we already have. That's an open heart, because when you vibrate from that, it brings you more of that, right? But if you speak words of, oh, that person's ridiculous that they believe that, or that whole party is wrong because, you know, they're thinking that they're only right, and that's a very arrogant, for me, that's a very arrogant perspective, because everybody is never, we're not always right and we're not always wrong. But if we open our mind and just say, well, let me listen to you. Why do you think that way? Help me understand. And maybe we can come to expand our thoughts on our own beliefs. Well, that makes sense. And that's when you get to, well, it sounds logical. How does it feel? Okay, I could agree with that. That's a much more livable, moral, ethical world to live in, I think, is when we just allow ourselves to say, let me hear what you have to say, and listen with an open heart and an open mind. And that is a free thinker, I think.
That's a free thinker and an open person with an open mind.
Yes.
Oh, Jo Ellen, if there was one last message you could leave with the audience to inspire them to achieve their unlimited power that they have, I mean, to get that unlimited power out, is what I say, what would that message be? And you can just...
I would say to every person listening out there that you are enough as you are right now. You're absolutely perfect, you're unique, and there's everything that you can do. We have the same 24 hours in our day that Einstein had, that Leonardo da Vinci had, and that we are magnificent, unique beings, and your voice is waiting to be heard. Just allow yourself to bring it out. I would say that.
And not only do you allow yourself to bring it out, but Jo Ellen can help you bring it out. Can you tell us a little bit more about how anybody can get in contact with you and with the services that you have to offer, any specials?
Okay, great. Thanks, Ed. Yes, I do have a special. Before the end of the year, I have a money manifesting course.
Yes.
And it is very left brain, but it is also right brain. So if you're open-minded, I get people real on where you're at with your finances right now and where do you want to be. But I do bring in tools like feng shui, the art of moving space, crystals, and using geodes, or oracle cards, or working with ascended masters, and not just Archangel Michael or Raphael, but also ascended masters from other philosophies or religious domains. And knowing that energy is everywhere. We may not always be able to measure everything yet, but it's there. And helping you after 4 weeks, reach a goal that you've defined, or maybe 6 weeks. But the program is 4 weeks long, Monday through Friday. You get an email every day or a video every day. And for $47, it's normally $97.
Right.
So it's on sale now, totally more than half off. And it's an amazing course. People, when I had a beta group go through it and other people go through it, they all made money. Some wanted a new job, some wanted more money, just different things. You have to define what you want. But it's measurable, and it's also expanding your brain. That's neuroplasticity, by the way. It's expanding your thought processes. But it's fun. It's playing in a new playground. So with that, coaching is always helpful for those who are stuck in the mind chatter and just need to move forward. So if you can reach me at tytcoachjo@gmail.com.
And with social media platforms?
I do. I'm on Facebook. You can go to TYT Coach Jo or Jo Ellen Newman. I have my webpage, tytcoachjo.com. And I'm on a little bit on Instagram. I'm too old, but you know,
No,
but I
that's
do play with it once in a while, and I send out those motivational messages, but
Okay.
mostly Facebook.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining
Thanks,
us. Thank
Ed.
you for sharing your thoughts, your experiences, and continue to help people get to that next level.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for tuning here to the Unlimited Power Show. My name is Edouard Gilles, and I want to remind you that you have the unlimited power in you to achieve whatever it is that you want. But until you believe that, the world will forever miss your talents, your gifts, and all the great things that you have to offer. So let your light shine. Don't hide it. Don't dim it. Thank you. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you. That was very